Let's be honest, some legendary rock bands just don't know when to quit. The glory days are gone, the vocals are rough, and the backing tracks are louder than the guitars. So yeah, I'm calling them out. Here are 10 bands that should probably hang it up before their legacy fades. It's a controversial take, but hey, don't shoot the messenger. Fans and critics said it first. Now, I love Guns N' Roses. Appetite for Destruction was one of the wildest, most dangerous records ever made. But if you've watched them lately, you know something's off. Axl Rose doesn't sound like Axl anymore. After recent 2025 shows in Madrid, Buenos Aires, even LA, he's been compared to a broken belt Sander, and honestly, that's exactly how it feels. The grit that once made him unstoppable is now just, well, yeah, screech. Sure, Slash and Duff still deliver, but you can't polish what's missing at the front of the stage. When a band once defined chaos and danger, but now limps through those same songs, it's hard to watch. I wish they'd burned out in a blaze of glory back in the day, instead of fading out like this. Sometimes walking away at the right time is the most rock and roll thing you can do. And speaking of fading out, can we all agree that Mötley Crüe have pushed this thing way past its expiration date? You see, the last few tours have been less about music and more about survival. Vince Neil struggles to keep up, often relying on backing tracks, or let's be honest, the audience to finish his lines. Fans have shared dozens of clips of recent shows where he's completely out of breath, skipping words, or screaming off key while staring at a teleprompter. It's painful. Nikki Sixx has been accused of using pre-recorded bass parts. And when you combine that with shaky vocals, it's not a concert. It's karaoke with fireworks. Don't get me wrong, John 5 and Tommy Lee are still monsters on their instruments, but this isn't the Crüe we remember from Shout at the Devil. This is a tribute band to their younger selves, and it's time to stop pretending otherwise. Now this one, come on, you knew it was coming. Kiss have been saying goodbye longer than most bands have been alive, and now, with the passing of Ace Frehley, fans are split between grief and disbelief because somehow there's already talk of another tour. You see, it's like Kiss exists in a world where farewell never really means farewell. I mean, come on. These guys have had more comebacks than a boomerang, and at this point, every generation deserves its own Kiss farewell tour, right? The problem is, even before Ace's death, fans were calling out the lip syncing, the pre-recorded vocals, the perfectly timed pyro that feels more robotic than rebellious. Sure, it's still a spectacle. No one does lights and flames like Kiss. But when the illusion cracks, it's hard to unsee it. Maybe this time, finally, they'll mean it. Or maybe we'll be back here again in 5 years. If we're talking about painful performances, we can't ignore David Lee Roth. I adore the guy. He's a legend, a showman, the ultimate frontman. But have you seen him live recently? It's chaos. He doesn't just miss notes. He rewrites the songs mid-performance. Whole verses disappear, the timing's gone, and his phrasing sounds like a jazz singer who wandered into a hard rock gig by mistake. Fans who went to his 2025 M3 Rock Festival set described it as bizarre and unrecognizable. And the thing is, Dave can still move, still entertain, still command attention. But the voice that once defined Van Halen's fire is long gone. Watching him now feels like watching your favorite movie dubbed in the wrong language. There's energy, but no connection. Maybe the Diamond Dave we remember is still in there somewhere, but the kindest thing he could do is let him rest. Now, let's talk about the Scorpions, another band who deserves respect. I mean, they've been rocking stages for over 50 years, and that's incredible. But lately, even their biggest fans are starting to say the same thing. Maybe it's time to stop. You see, Klaus Meine has battled through some serious health issues. He got breathing problems, nerve pain, even back surgery. And it's clear those high notes aren't as effortless as they used to be. Watch the shows from 2024, and you'll notice him pacing carefully, saving his voice, sometimes letting the crowd sing the toughest parts, and honestly, who can blame him? The man's a legend. But there's a difference between proving you can still do it and showing the world that you probably shouldn't anymore. The Scorpions have nothing left to prove. Maybe it's time to let that final "rock you like a hurricane" echo in peace. The next band that should retire may be a controversial one, because they're still selling out stadiums. But even legends have limits, right? We're talking about AC/DC. Brian Johnson is a machine, and I have nothing but respect for him. But the man is pushing 80. That kind of high-voltage vocal power just can't last forever. Watch the 2025 tour clips from Lisbon or Munich, and you'll hear the strain. Some songs sound solid, others sound like he's wrestling the microphone just to stay in pitch. Angus Young is still giving it everything, duck walking across the stage like a man possessed. But when half the set becomes an endurance test, it's hard not to wonder, what's left to prove? AC/DC defined hard rock. They've done it all, they've earned it all, but maybe it's time to turn off the amps and end on a high, before that thunder finally stops rolling. And then there's the Rolling Stones. Look, they're untouchable. The greatest rock and roll band in history. But even Mick Jagger can't outrun time forever. Watching their Hackney Diamonds tour in 2024 was surreal. The energy's still there. The swagger still flickers. But the magic comes and goes like a fading signal. Keith's hands aren't as steady. Charlie's gone, and you can feel that absence every time they play. You see, there's a fine line between defying age and denying it. The Stones are heroes for still standing, but when fans start praising the effort more than the performance, it's a sign. They've earned the right to rest, to be legends, not curiosities. Maybe it's time for the final bow, not because they've lost it, but because they've done everything possible to keep it alive. And honestly, that's the most rock and roll ending imaginable. Now this next band, Journey, is a tricky one. You see, their songs are immortal. Don't Stop Believin', Faithfully, Separate Ways, and so on. They're stitched into every wedding, bar, and road trip playlist in America. But when you watch them live today, something just feels a bit off. Arnel Pineda is a powerhouse singer, no question. But after all these years of touring nonstop, his voice is clearly tired. The big notes are shortened, the energy feels contained, and there's a sense of going through the motions. And let's be honest, the endless band drama doesn't help. Lawsuits, lineup feuds, and business fights, it's exhausting to follow. Journey used to sound like freedom, now it sounds like management. Fans still show up for nostalgia, but nostalgia can only take you so far. Maybe the most powerful message they could send now is a quiet one. Stop believing, and finally rest that legacy with dignity. We also need to talk about Foreigner, because here's where things get strange. The band still tours constantly, but there isn't a single original member left on stage. Not one. It's like a tribute act that somehow inherited the brand name. Sure, they sound great, and frontman Kelly Hansen nails those Lou Gramm-style vocals, but when fans pay big money, expecting to see the guys who wrote Cold as Ice or Jukebox Hero, it's kind of a letdown. You see, the show is flawless technically, but it feels hollow. There's no real connection to the song's creators, no sense of history. It's like watching a well-rehearsed Broadway version of a rock concert. Maybe it's time to admit that Foreigner's spirit now lives on in the records, not the road. Retire the name, celebrate the music, and let the legend stay legendary instead of becoming the world's most expensive cover band. Finally, we have Yes. They're one of the most respected progressive rock bands ever, but also one of the most confusing to follow these days. You see, there are so many versions of Yes floating around. Even fans joke they need a flowchart to keep track. The musicianship is still top-notch. No doubt, but the spark that made albums like Close to the Edge or Fragile Timeless has faded. The tempos are slower, the harmonies thinner, and the chemistry just isn't there anymore. When you replace every key member over time, you might keep the name, but you lose the soul. Recent tours have moments of beauty, sure, but more often they feel like history lessons. Respectful, precise, but emotionless. And maybe that's the sign. Yes doesn't need to prove anything. They already expanded what rock could be. Now it's time to stop recreating the past and let the music breathe on its own. So there you have it. 10 legendary bands that changed rock forever. And yeah, maybe should finally take a bow. Don't get me wrong. I love them all. But you see, there's a fine line between keeping the dream alive and dragging it past the finish line. What do you think? Did I miss a band that really needs to hang it up? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll read everyone. And hey, if you love classic rock as much as I do, hit subscribe and keep this channel rolling.
Sky.